Today I am going to discuss the topic general model of operations management. Okay, so this model comprises of three parts, basically input, process, and output. Okay, what is input basically? So there are two types of input: input transformed resources and input transforming resources. And what is output basically? So if you talk about output of operations management, that is product, either product or service or both. Okay, so and if you talk about process, so there are basically an environment, basically business environment, and the personal related with the top management are there, middle level managers are there, and lower level means basically that operational managers are there. Okay, so basically if you talk about, first we will discuss about this input transformed resources. What is transformed resources? Transformed resources are those resources that have already transformed, like raw material. Okay, what is raw material? Basically, raw material is finished product for supplier, but it is raw material for manufacturer. So it is transformed resources, means it has been already transformed into that form. Okay, like if you take an example of tire, so tire is finished product for supplier, but it is raw material for a car manufacturer. Okay, so that is transformed resources. Next transformed resource example is customers information. Okay, what is customers information? Basically, you before developing a product or service, first you consider that market research basically. Okay, and by that way, by conducting market research, you will assess the information about customer, means what customer wants or what customer needs, what is the requirement of customer, how you can satisfy customer. Okay, so these are basically customers information. So that is also transformed, means first you will conduct that market research, and after that you will produce that product or service for your customer. Because nowadays customization focus era and globalization era is there, and different customer is having different types of perception about the product or service. Okay, so next is so these are the transformed resources basically. Okay, transformed resources means the resources that have already transformed. Okay, next type of input is input transforming resources. What is transforming resources? The resources that you are transforming during the production. Okay, like facility, staff, okay, and labor and machinery. So all these resources are there, but they are transforming. Why transforming? Means you will deploy these resources during the production. Okay, means what is the number of labor, what is the number of machinery you want to deploy, that you will decide during the production based on your capacity and based on your demand. Okay, what is the demand of product from customer side, and after that you will decide about capacity. Okay, now we will go for so we have discussed about this input resources. So there are two types of input resources: transformed resources and transforming resources. Okay, now we will go for this process part. Okay, so if you discuss about this process part, so if you see that here is a blue box, okay, that represent production facility where the production occurs. Okay, and if you talk about this external environment, so external environment depicts that business environment, and that scenario means top level management, middle level managers that are deciding strategy basically, that are deciding objectives, and that are deciding about their competitive role and position. Okay, so first we will discuss a part that is a customer, that is lying in business environment basically. So first you will assess customers related information, customers requirement, customers need, wants, etc. And based on those requirements, you will decide your operations competitive role and position, means what we can deliver to the customer in anticipation of those customers demand, those customers requirement basically. Okay, so you will decide upon what are the operations competitive role and position, means what we can deliver as a manufacturer to our customer to facilitate our customer. Okay, we may see here examples of like Maruti. So Maruti is delivering in terms of mileage, they are superior in market, in Indian market, and in terms of that after sales service they are superior in Indian market. So what is operations competitive role and position, they are better in these two parameters. Okay, but in terms of safety they are not in better position in terms of safety if you talk about. So another competitor is there, that is Tata Motors. Okay, so you need to decide what is your USP basically, what you can deliver to your customer, means operations competitive role and position. Okay, and based on that operations competitive role and position, you will decide your objective, means what will you deliver, what would be your USP, and what will be would you going to deliver to your customer basically. So operations is strategic objective that you will decide. What is objective? Objective is basically open ended, means you will decide whether you are focusing towards that mileage part in terms of car, in terms of after sales service in terms of car, safety part in terms of car, features in terms of car. So all these are objective basically. Okay, by which point, by considering which point you will draft your strategy. Okay, so that is objective basically, and objective will be led by vision and mission of company. Okay, vision, mission, and operations competitive role and position of company. That objective will led by these three parameters. Okay, vision, mission, and operations competitive role and position. Next is drafting operations strategy. Strategy part is primarily focused by the top level management and middle level managers. Okay, if required basically. So operations, the top level managers or the key persons will decide about operations strategy. Okay, what would be the operations strategy, means how will we produce a product, what will be the location, what will be the layout, where we locate our plant, okay, etc. All these things comes under the category of strategy. Okay, now the next part will be covered by operations manager. So the portion that is represented by blue box is basically the work of operations manager or plant manager. Okay, so the first part that is taken care by that operations manager or plant manager will be design, means design the product or design the service that you are going to deliver to your customer. Sometimes in some organization design department is inbuilt in this operations function, and in some organization it is separate from the operations function. Like we may take here example of Amul and Mother Dairy. These two companies are having separate R&D wing apart from their plants. Okay, and they are continuously testing new model or new type of products. Okay, and after finalizing it, after checking its feasibility, they are just delivering the design to design, means basically the composition of that product to those plants to produce further. Okay, so that is basically design. So design part sometimes comprised with that operations function, and sometimes it is separate from that operations function. So if it is inside the operations function, so it will be dealt by that plant manager, okay, or operations manager. Next is planning and control. What is planning and control? Planning for producing the quantity that customers require, that customer required basically. Okay, means designing the capacity. Okay, designing the capacity based on customers demand. And control is what? Basically to check that no product that I am going to deliver would be defective. Okay, and if there is defect, so you need to repair it and correct it, and after that you will deliver it to your customer basically. So for control part, you will adopt here preventive maintenance. Okay, what is preventive maintenance? Means it is proactive approach to mitigate the risk of getting defect basically. Okay, so now next part is improvement. What is improvement? Improvement in terms of further. Okay, further means what are the scope in products? Okay, whether customer is wanting sleek design, like earlier we are having phone with bulky designs, but nowadays we are having phone with sleek design, lesser weight, and more features. So what is that? Basically improvement. So if you want to improve your product, you will go you want to go for that operations competitive role and position to improve it. Like Tata Motors, earlier they were focusing towards that cost part. Okay, so they have launched Tata Motors, sorry, Tata Nano. Okay, but after that they have launched that Tata Tiago, and other cars are there, Heizer and Tata Safari. So all these cars are basically what they have changed in terms of operations competitive role and position. Now they are focusing towards safety. Okay, they are providing India's safest car. Okay, just because customer is ready to buy the safe car in comparison to cheap car. Okay, so they have shifted their operations competitive role and position. They have drafted their strategic objectives, and drafted their operations strategy, and prepared the design and further planning, and further they are continuously improving their design in terms of all of their product line basically. So that is operations competitive improvement in operations competitive role and position. And if you check whether your product is doing well or not, means we are not able to position it properly, or some competitor is there that have adopted my strategy. So in that case you will change your strategy, you will make it aggressive. You may choose a blue ocean or red ocean strategy, and you may choose that optimum strategy further to improve. Okay, so these are basically process part. Okay, next is output. So output of this operations management would be either product or service or both. Okay, generally nowadays you can't segregate product from services. Okay, in each and every sector you may see here that companies are offering product as well as services both. Because if you are going to offer a car to your customer, and you are not ready to give after sales service, or you are not ready to give spare parts, or you are not ready to give that maintenance or repair, so in that case customer will not opt for your car. Okay, so basically you need to give a combination of product and service nowadays for selling your product basically. Okay, so that is the output part. So this is all about the general model of operations management. If you are having